Hi, my name is Barbara Lester, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I specialize in working with children and teens on the autism spectrum. And this is my video blog, and it's called Autism Spectrum Treatment Tips. And today what I'm talking about is how to determine a replacement behavior for problem behaviors. So I want to explain what I mean by that and why I think it's important. Because I think a lot of times when we think about problem behaviors for a child or an adolescent on the autism spectrum, what we think about is that things that we don't like that they're doing that we want them to stop, or we think about things that they're not doing that we want them to start doing. And so in this part I want to be talking about the idea of behaviors that we want people to stop. But along with that, really what we need to look at is what do we want them to do instead? So that's the critical question. So when you think about a problem behavior that your child is doing, I want you to ask yourself this question. And the question is, what do I want them to do instead? And how am I going to teach them that skill? And how am I going to reward them for using this new skill rather than reverting to the old problem behavior? So I want to give you an example. Probably the most common issue that people come in to treatment about with their child is dealing with issues of aggression and tantruming. So if a child is tantruming in response to something, often it's in response to not getting something that they want, or being asked to perform a certain activity, to do something that they don't want to do. So you might get a tantrum or verbal or physical aggression. And so then the question we want to ask is, what is it that we want them to do instead? And depending on the child, there might be different answers. Like, so for instance, maybe with one child, what they need to be able to learn to do is they might need to learn to be able to express their feelings in words. Maybe they're not good at being able to identify their own emotion and to label it in words and then to say what it is. So maybe they need to be able to say, I feel really mad about that, and I'm on a 3 on a 1 to 5 scale. Maybe they could point to it, or they could look at pictures of feeling faces and show the one that shows how they're feeling. And that's as the alternative to laying on the floor and screaming and yelling and having a tantrum. Okay? Or maybe for another child, the skill that they need to learn is how to accept no. Or maybe another child needs to learn a skill of how to follow instructions so that when they're asked to do something, again, they don't lay down on the floor and start screaming. Instead, they learn to follow a 4-step plan for following instructions, such as saying, looking at the person, making eye contact, saying okay, doing what they've been asked to do, and then checking back to see if they've followed the instruction correctly. So for each child, that question of what we want them to do instead really might be something different, and we need to figure out what it is, teach them that, and then have that be part of their reward system so that they are rewarded for using this new behavior, and prompted and rewarded, by the way, for using that behavior. All right, so that's the basic idea of the concept of replacement behaviors. So thanks for tuning in. If you're interested in additional tips like this, please subscribe to my channel. And also, if you have other questions that you'd like me to answer in future video blogs, then leave me a comment and I'll try to answer them in some of my other blogs.